I would love to discuss what it would look like to increase my salary based upon the results and impact that I've contributed this past year. I was looking for an increase of $10,000 to $15,000. Then I'd pause and I'd see what they were going to say.
I have never before in my life asked for a raise. I know it seems shocking, but I don't know. There's just like this weird stigma. It's like really difficult to talk about money. I don't know if it's like cultural or generational or just looking back and thinking about the earlier parts of my career. I probably was underpaid a lot of the time, and that's not okay. This is a really important issue, and I don't want to repeat the same mistakes. And if you're in the same position, I don't want you to go through that either. Right now, we are going to figure out how to ask for a raise and make sure you're not leaving any money on the table. So stick around if you want to see me figure out these tips step by step. I know y'all have been asking for this episode since day one, so let's get that money. Before we start, a brief word from our sponsor. We all want better ways to work. Confluence, the leading team collaboration software, keeps your whole company in sync. Confluence is one place where you can create, collaborate, and share work, so you can spend less time meeting and more time doing. Get it free today at Atlassian.com/meetless.
This isn't a conversation where you go in and wing it. And when you go in and wing it, I've seen happen so many times where people get knocked down really fast or they say the wrong thing and it's hard to pick it back up.
That's Kimberly B. Cummings. She's a career coach, consultant, and author. She helps women and people of color navigate the workplace, make more money, and become industry leaders. Is there anything that is important to know about negotiating salary right now in 2021 as the world turns?
It's important to know that the work is still the work, even though we're virtual. I feel that so many places are trying to say things different, like, oh, well, because we're virtual, what is your rate? Or because we're virtual, let's do it this way. The work is still the work. Don't let anyone talk you out of negotiating what you know you deserve because it's virtual. There are so many folks who've worked 10 times harder being virtual than they ever did in person.
Although you might be tempted to ask your boss right now for a raise, just pause for a second. The first thing you want to do is get some key information.
Schedule what I like to call career conversation, where you can speak about your development, your contribution, where your career is going, and ask, based upon the work that I've been doing, I'd love to discuss what it would look like to get a raise. Ask your boss, what would it look like when I've achieved this too? Be very specific so you can really create an actionable plan to achieve it.
Now we're going to get into the tactical stuff, negotiation and the ask. First step, do your research.
Look at how much you're being paid in comparison to other similar organizations to see what is the rate you should be looking for. Are you under? Are you over? What's happening in your industry? I recommend sites like Glassdoor, PayScale, LinkedIn, everything.
Aside from online research, what can really help is getting real data from real people. And that means talking to others, and if you trust them, asking them what they make.
If you do have a close relationship, I do recommend asking, hey, can we have the salary conversation, like real number conversation?
What's really important is understanding why a raise needs to happen. What are your contributions? How have you made an impact? Why should the company increase its investment in you?
Many times employees will talk about, I want a raise because I deserve it. I've done so much here. I need this. I need this. However, when we're thinking about it from a business perspective, you're getting paid more because you are doing more. Your contribution is higher. Your value in the workplace is higher. These are value-based conversations, not just I deserve or I feel like I don't have conversations.
It's one thing for you to make a case for yourself, but it's so helpful if others can help you do that too. What does that mean? It means building your personal brand inside the company. This is like my favorite tip from Kimberly. So if someone at work compliments you on a project or says thank you or whatever, at that moment, just ask that person, hey, that's so great to hear. Actually, if you don't mind, can you drop a line to my boss with the same message that you shared with me? It would mean a lot. Thanks so much.
Something quick and easy. And many times that email just helps reinforce the value that you're bringing.
Now's the time that you sit down with your boss and lay everything out. And even if you are on friendly terms with your manager, you want to come into this conversation with a bit of seriousness. So I have the research, I'm going in the conversation. What advice would you have for like actually expressing the number or the range or the percentage? Like, how do I give that numeral?
Yes. So you definitely want to express a range. So let's say you're currently getting paid $55,000 a year and you really want to be at $65,000 a year. I would quote a range of $65,000 a year to $75,000 a year when you're having this conversation, with the number you really want at the lowest part of the range.
Because that's like, if they do go with the low one, you've already hit your goal.
Exactly.
If you get nervous, just remember, restraint is your friend. Just stop talking.
They'll start saying things like, well, I really want a raise because I think I've done a lot of work here and then I saw someone else get a raise. Ask the question and then zip it.
Want to leave this conversation with a clear idea of next steps and timeline when you're going to hear back from them. So the ball's in their court. You wait a little bit. If you haven't heard back, just bring it up again, nudge them. Don't be afraid to be proactive. What do you do if they come back with not what you expected, or a low ball, or something that isn't what you asked for?
So I always want to validate that it stinks when you've done all you can do and they come back with, let's say, a 1 to 5K difference in what you're currently making, which we know is most likely going to get eaten up by taxes. So when they come back with that number, of course, reiterating, I was looking for an increase of $10,000 to $15,000. Is there any wiggle room here? If they say no, then I would follow up and say, of course, well, you're going to take the money, but what do they need to see from you in order to increase?
There's only so much you can control. So if your request for a raise isn't going as expected, it might be time to get creative.
This might also be the time where you may have to have the conversation, do you actually need a raise? Or do you need a promotional opportunity?
Asking for a raise is not easy, and it can get emotionally and psychologically complicated real fast.
This is a tough conversation that a lot of people don't have. You have to practice.
Okay, all right. So currently I'm making $45,000, and I am looking to raise my salary to $55,000 to $60,000. Oof, I don't know, I'm getting sweaty. I feel like the more that I say it out loud, the emotional and psychological trappings of saying a number out loud diminish. 80,000, 40,000, 17,000. I can say that, but can I say from 45 to 55? I don't know why that's much harder. Okay, so I have a number and I'm ready to give my pitch for a raise. For the purposes of the video, I'm actually going to go back to Kimberly and deliver my spiel and see what she says, what she thinks, and get a, real critique out of it. Before we see me put it all together, here's a message from our sponsor, Confluence.
Hi, I'm Laurel Hodge with Confluence by Atlassian, with a few tips about how to ask for a raise and actually get it. Ask yourself, am I well positioned for this raise? To prepare, you should really understand how your performance is viewed within the organization. To do this, you can request peer feedback, schedule quarterly check-ins, and also make sure to reflect on growth and changes from previous performance reviews. Timing is everything. With large companies, you may only have a couple of times in the year where you can actually ask for a raise. In smaller companies, it may be more merit-based, so make sure that you act on the heels of a big success or when your company is growing fast. Track your progress. Keep a record of all of your work in one place that you and your manager can easily access. Use an open project collaboration tool like Confluence to track progress and results over time. And finally, set and track goals. Confluence has tons of useful templates that I use for myself and my team, like weekly meeting notes for our one-on-ones, a career development plan, and a quarterly check-in template. So when you're ready to ask for an increase, you will be super well prepared. Spend less time meeting and more time doing with Confluence. Get Confluence free today at Atlassian.com/meetless.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. I believe I brought a lot of impact and results to the company this past year. Just some highlights. So one, in our initiative for audience growth, I managed to write and innovate on our neighborhood guides. Also, I gave some suggestions to the workflow and structure. And so actually now, a year later, we are spending 20% of our time less. We're spending 20% less of our time in meetings. So I think that's a really big boon to our productivity. So based on the results and impact of those highlights, my salary ask is $55,000 to $60,000.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that with me today. I think I'm going to take that back to our team and see what we're able to do here.
Great. So thank you so much for the consideration. I'll just send a recap of what we talked about in a follow-up email, but I really appreciate you taking this time. And also, do you have an estimate of when I might be able to hear back?
So I have a leadership team meeting next week. I hope I'll be able to get back to you in 2 weeks.
I tried my best. I did practice, but I would love to hear from your point of view how strange or where I can improve. I know it's a little robotic to me, but at the same time, I know I would be flailing left and right if I didn't have a bit of structure.
No, I don't think you were flailing at all. One of the things I will say is that try to remove words like I actually from your vocabulary when you're doing that. Actually, it's like, well, I'm so shocked. Like I actually was able to do this. It's like, no, you did it. You did it, and it was amazing.
Talking with Kimberly, it was fairly straightforward, but I can only imagine there are certain conversations and certain managers where things can escalate really quickly.
Don't get discouraged at all. Even if the manager were to say, hey, let's talk about that in 3 months at the mid-year. It's like, well, I'd love to make sure that I'm on track to receive a promotion. Would you be able to share what you'd need to see?
As I mentioned before, I had never asked for a raise before in my career, and now knowing what I know, I definitely feel like I have a lot more confidence. The cat's out of the bag, ball's in their court, and then you just have this sense of accomplishment and, whatever happens, it happens, but you did what you could. And I think that's really powerful. If you're still watching, 1, thank you. But 2, I'm really curious, what do you want me to explore? What problems do you have at work? I'd love to solve them. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you have any other ideas, throw them my way. All right, peace out.